Hello and welcome back to another 2D Sunday-ish for my gaming channel, Unikronn's Gaming. Today we're going to talk about Sonic the Hedgehog on the Mega Drive / Genesis and the Origins collection. A little bit of history. Sonic was created by, I need to get these names correct, here we go, Yuji Naka, Naoto Oshima, and Hirokazu Yashuhara. I butchered your names, I apologize for that, especially as they're very powerful names. And the game came out in 1991 for the Sega Mega Drive. This is the Phenom, which is Sonic the Hedgehog. I'm using the PS3 for the original version, and I'm using the Sonic Origins collection for the newer version. The PS3 version's Sonic Sega Genesis collection, I believe. Alright, let's get to it. Okay, I just want to point out a few weird differences here. Obviously on Origins collection for Sonic 1, you can pick any of these 4 characters that you wish. The bonus stages are roughly the same, but if you do fail, you can use your coins in Origins collections to try again, rather than just being booted out and going to the next stage. What other differences are there? Obviously, you get coins instead of lives on Origins. You build up those coins, you can spend them on whatever you want. It's obviously widescreen, as you can see. You also have a drop dash. I believe I didn't use a drop dash, I forgot. But I believe you've got the drop dash, and obviously you have the spin dash in Origins, which the original Sonic did not have. Okay, one thing I did notice, the stars seem to be a bit more clustered around him, like a proper shield effect. I wonder if there's just more stars? It's just a visual change which I noticed. Whereas on the original emulated version, it's how I genuinely remembered it, not as many stars, as you can see here. So yeah, this is how I mostly remembered it. I mean, it doesn't make much difference really, but it just seems that there was more stars. And when he runs on the original version, he sort of leaves them behind longer. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Perhaps it's nothing after all. But here's some of the weird sound differences. On the emulated version, you've got some weird beep, boop, blop, bleep, bleep sounds. Listen to this. Also on the PS3 Sonic's Ultimate Mega Drive collection, I believe the sound is compressed quite heavily as well as sound inaccuracies there. I'm going to show you some more coming up. So yeah, just listen out for it. It's just really weird, and I don't remember that when I originally played it on the original hardware back in the day. The Sonic spin sounds whiny and very compressed. Basically, on the PS3 emulation on this Sega collection, the sound they didn't emulate the Mega Drive sound right. According to my memory anyway, it just sounds odd and it just stood out to me. But anyway, that could just be me. Listen to this next part of the soundtrack. It goes all over the place like Have a listen. I'm going to rewind it back one more time so you can listen to that again. It just sounds off. We don't really get that with the Origins. It just sounds weird. Here we go. For me, in Origins, the sound is how I remembered it. I don't really think I've heard any weird ink onk or plinky plonk issues. It just sounds correct and nothing stands out to me. So yeah, it just, and it's obviously it's not compressed or muffled, which is a really nice thing, because yeah, I didn't really realize how bad the PS3 version was until I started playing Origins. But anyway, let's get on to more how should I say, more positive stuff about the games. As you can see here, this is the first boss. You could destroy this boss in seconds. I missed that hit there, so that put me all the way off there. But yeah, we're going to show some more differences here. You can just go ahead and just tank him. He's nothing Robotnik. Why he was called Eggman, I don't know. I only know him as Robotnik. And when I heard that he was Eggman, I was like, he is? I just know him as Robotnik. Anyway, I'm digressing. We can talk about that later on in the video. So that's the first boss. And on the Origins collection, I'll try and mimic what I did there. Look, I get the stars, Helter Skelter down there, and you can fall off the platform. You can't do that in the original. And look, I can't hit him straight away. They've made it so that you can't blast him in seconds. He now takes a bit longer. Why they made that change, I do not know. It's weird to me. It doesn't particularly serve a purpose, because they haven't changed what he does. He's just invincible or invulnerable for about 5 seconds into the match. So yeah, and you can fall off these platforms, which you can't do in the original. So yeah, there's a difference there. All right, let's go on to the next zone. Okay, so while we're in the marble zone, there are some differences here, and I'll talk about them when we get to them. But I just want to say that I've had a large experience with Sonic 1. I think I must have played it at least 50 times when I was younger. I probably completed it about 35 times. And it was so strange coming to this collection and the Origins, because I played on PAL. That's what we had in the UK. So the game was slower, the music was slower. It seemed so strange seeing Sonic not stumpy and huge borders top and bottom of my screen. And when I got hit, I could start off running faster. It was just weird. And the music was also faster as well. So yeah, it was odd seeing that. I mean, obviously, I had it with other games, but because I played Sonic so much, I didn't really notice that with Shadow Dancer. Obviously, Shadow Dancer must be the same as well, PAL to NTSC. But with Sonic, it was really a big difference. Yeah, so, you know, you adjust. I'll say that, I got hit there. But you try and adjust, I should say. But yeah, here's a difference that I want to show, that the PS3 version, again, in this emulation, is just wrong. Listen to the sound, just listen to the sound. Did you hear that? I got 2 extra lives there, but it only gave me the sound for 1. And I know the Mega Drive didn't do that. One more time. Yeah, so when I got the extra life, it went da 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 da, but it should have interrupted again and started again. You know, like da 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 da. Let's see what Origins does, okay? I'm gonna shut up now. Here we go. Yeah, so Origins did it perfectly fine. Okay, that's what I thought. So it wasn't just me. When I was playing, I was like, wait a minute, I got 2 extra lives there. Why is there only 1 chime for that? There should have been 2. So it's not just my memory that's failing me, because I'm an old swine. But it is that particular emulation. Okay, so I've got that to fight against as well. Things I think could be different or wrong. It could be going from PAL to NTSC, going for from Sega and their wonderful emulation. I'm being ironic here, it's not wonderful, but yeah. And obviously any changes that they've made to the Origin version versus my memory. Anyway, like I was saying before, that change, going from PAL to NTSC for Sonic 1, there is a huge difference. I'm assuming that even the timer is slower than on the PAL version, because the PAL version was just, it's almost like, not like he was running in treacle, but spin dash, I love that. It helps you out in Origins, whereas on the original I would have had to spin. You know what, I think in my conclusion I'm going to have to talk about which version I'd prefer to play. What was I talking about? Yeah, so the music's slower, the timing must have been slower. When Sonic recovers, that's slower. Obviously I didn't know at the time. One of the biggest things I still do remember, because obviously playing this, it was the 3-button OG Mega Drive pad. That D-pad I would spin by accident when I wanted to run and skid stop. But playing it these days with better controllers, in my opinion, I'm using a DualSense controller on the Origins because it's playing on PS5. On the PS3, I'm using a DualShock 4, a modded DualShock 4 by Battle Beaver. Cost me almost £200, but not for Sonic, but you know, it's just the pad that I use with a Brook adapter in there. So that's what I use on my PS3. So yeah, much better controller than the scummy DualShock 3, or what was the one that didn't even have vibration at the launch of the PS3? Whatever that disgusting pad was, that's as light as paper. 6-axis, did they call it? Oh god, that was when PlayStation and Sony were going through, I don't know, they were just dickheads back then. Oh, vibrations of last generation. Shut your mouth and pay the court fees and put vibration back in the pad. Dickheads. Anyway, yeah. So that's my little thing about PAL and going between PAL and NTSC. So, alright. Okay, now I want to talk about the graphics of the game. Let's stick to the backgrounds and the stages first before we talk about the sprites and the enemies. Oh, there's going to be one more change I'm going to need to show you on this zone for the boss when we get there. So yeah, but graphics basically, for the time, wait, hold on. Wait, look at this, look at this. I'm going to slow it down so you can see it. This jump here is no longer a thing. I don't know why they actually put that there so you could die just before the boss. That's actually quite stupid. But it's not a thing anymore in the Origins collection. They've covered it up. It's got destructible bricks. Once you run past it, they fall down and into the lava. So unless you stop and stay there, you won't fall into the lava. But we'll get to that in a second. Apart from that, the boss battle is basically the same. Once again, I couldn't hit him straight away. I don't know if it was me and I missed. But yeah, I couldn't hit him straight away. So there could be a thing in Origins where Robotnik, not Eggman. Screw you people and your Eggman. Here we go. Watch, here we go. Look. I've slowed it down. It's like a little bridge over the lava. There you go. See, they filled it in. See it? And it falls apart there. Yeah, anyway. Yeah, Robotnik may have some invincibility. Maybe. Perhaps I just missed him there. I probably just missed him. Yeah. Perhaps he just got a bit of invincibility on the first couple frames in the Origins collection. I don't know. Who knows? But yeah, because graphics for each zone, it was something that I think I'd seen in some of the Disney games, Mickey Mouse and stuff, but they were the only games at that time for Sega Mega Drive platform games that had really distinctive looking stages and zones. They were really punchy. Sonic stood out on them. They had their own theme tune, which was cool. No synthesized speech or anything like that, but they didn't need to. It was just, as soon as you saw a stage, you knew what stage it was, especially if you hated that stage. Labyrinth stage we're talking, or Labyrinth Zone, we're looking at you here. Underwater stage, Jesus Christ. Anyway, yeah, so The stages were nice and punchy. Green Hill Zone is now a classic because that's like, was it Mario and his Mushroom Kingdom? That just starts off the game. You just know where you are. If there's a Sonic game and the first stage isn't Green Hill, then I don't want to play it. I don't want it. Nope, I don't want it. It needs to be Green Hill Zone to start off with because that's just how Sonic starts. It's a classic. So yeah, the stages are really cool. Lots of floating invisible platforms, platforms that disappear, that drop away from you. Decent enemy structure, where they're placed. That's what I'm talking about. Not too many cheap shots. The game is not particularly hard, but there's not many cheap shots there. So to me, that's a massive positive. They're not necessarily just put there to stop you from running. I mean, to be honest, on later stages, you don't run too much anyway because it was 4x3, you couldn't see enough of what was happening in front of you. So you didn't want to drop off a cliff or hit something at a springboard and come bouncing back. Yeah, so that would have been very annoying. But the stages were, I'd say, for Sonic 1, I don't think it's too much to say they're iconic, to be honest. I don't think they are. So yeah, great stages, great music. I love the fact that they had parallax scrolling. The parallax scrolling was so good. I love parallax scrolling in 2D games. So that was one of my favorite things when I saw that, especially it gave you that sense of speed when he was running and the stages were just flying past. Yeah, great graphics all around. Obviously you can see how this boss battle is a bit different. They pull up those two walls. I don't know why. It's just another difference between the original and the Origins, basically because of the widescreen effect, I'm going to assume, because that's the only thing I can think of. But the boss still plays the same. He doesn't do anything different, just like on the other stages. So yeah, just rinse and repeat. Oh, he got me in my head there. That was a bit naughty, but there you go. And the stages end. The walls come down. Not like I could have run away anyway. But yeah, there you go. The stage ends there. But yeah, like I said, great stages. This stage looks great music, but unfortunately it just brings the game to a halt. I think it's most people's worst zone. I believe it's called Labyrinth. I mean, arseholes, absolute arseholes. Who does that? What's the point of the shield? The spikes to death right up his ass. Bloody depressing. Anyway, yeah, so great stages. I suppose time to talk about the sprites and the characters and the enemy design. Okay, sprite work. We'll talk about Sonic first, then Robotnik. Sonic sprite, iconic, classic, excellent. I suppose at the time they wanted everything that Mario wasn't. So they want something a bit more edgy, a bit more cool. You probably had 40-odd-year-old guys saying we need some attitude to get these kids playing our system. You know what, wherever it was that said around the board meeting, it worked. Because he's just iconic now. Obviously, I'd love him to be more iconic than Mario. But let's face it, he's not. He's just not. Mario's probably number 2 to Mickey Mouse, but Sonic's still up there. He must be in the top 5 of iconic characters that people just know of. Unfortunately, he's not synonymous with quality anymore because the way Sega's treated him for years, sadly. But anyway, that's not what we're talking about here. His sprite work and the trainers, the big eyes, the gloves, like a Mickey Mouse type thing, big head, little body, like an SD character. I like the fact that when he runs, he builds up speed and his gameplay is momentum based. So it's almost like gravity based. His little quills wibble wobble when he's running fast. His head sort of moves as he's building up speed. His legs go in a blur. It's excellent character animation. Just superb, wonderful. I like the fact that you can get running shoes to make him even faster. When he gets the stars, it looks cool around him. When he picks up rings, you get the little ding 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 ding, the little twinkles. They look great. They took their time with him. He wasn't rushed. I mean, he's even got animation similar to Mickey Mouse in Castle of Illusion, that when he's on the edge of something, he's about to tippy toe, he's going to drop off. When you're not, he doesn't have idle animation like Mickey Mouse, but if you leave him alone for too long, he taps his feet and he looks at you like, what are we doing here? Come on, people, I've got places to go. So in 1991, we hadn't seen a lot of that for the Mega Drive, especially from Sega themselves, for their own characters. I mean, Alex Kidd never had that. Alex Kidd is some sort of, I don't know what the hell he's supposed to be. Is he supposed to be an elf? I don't know. But Alex Kidd is just different. Oi, they almost got me hit there and lost my 3 rings. Look at this little thing. Once you get that thing out of the screen, he's always bald afterwards. You can always hit him. Yeah, so Sonic as a character in this game, everything about him is, to me, is a 10 out of 10. He's just a brilliantly designed, animated and looking character. He shows emotion, and that's what you didn't get a lot of in that 2D era. So, and I think that's probably one of the biggest things, one of the biggest leaps in character design from the 8-bit era to the 16-bit era. You can actually see the emotion in him, like when he was going down the little waterfall thing. And when he dies, the way he looks at you, you hear the boom. So yeah, stuff like that is really cool. Robotnik in his crappy little hovering ship thing, when he gets hit, he grimaces and he flashes. Once again, that's great design because you know you've hit him. It's not like, oh, am I hitting this boss? Am I not hitting him? His whole ship is a weak spot unless it's got spikes or fire coming out of it, because the game's programmed you to say that, oh, fire is bad, spikes are bad, you can get hit. But if nothing like that is there, you are the one that will be hitting him. So yeah, very cool. It was just weird to see Robotnik being changed to Eggman back in the day. If he was Eggman first, then cool, I didn't know, but everything that I learned in 1991, he was Robotnik. And then I think in the Dreamcast era, I heard that he was called Eggman. And I was like, he's not even shaped like an egg, he's a ball. What type of eggs are you eating that they're shaped like him? But anyway, yeah, that's that really. The enemy sprites, the Robotniks, I think they're very cool. And when you hit them, you free them and you can see your friends. I really do like that as well. That was nice. That was a really cool touch, and you get points for it, I believe. I can't remember now. I think you do get points when you free them. And you see the little puff or puff of smoke, and then they bounce away all cutesy and what have you. So yeah, that was really cool. Yeah, that's about it for sprite work, I believe. Let's go on to the next chapter. Okay, gameplay. It's nothing too deep. Generally, as a rule, it's left to right. You can get multiple paths, get to the end of the stage. There's 3 zones, and at the end of the 3rd zone, you fight the boss, who is Dr. Robotnik. Nice and simple. Along the way, you can collect rings. 100 rings gives you an extra life in the original. And in Origins, it gives you coins. And then, oh, look at the nice speed that... You son of a bitch. Who does that? Wretches. Yeah. At times, you can be invincible if you bounce on a TV box that's got hearts in it. Hearts? What am I talking about? Sorry, stars. Invincible stars. They last anywhere between, is around about 20 seconds worth you get. They don't make you any faster. You can bounce on TVs that have shoes in them, trainers, and that can make you go double the speed. The music speeds up as well. When you get the stars, the music changes. So that also tells you that, okay, this is different now. So this is a power up. TVs that have a ring in them, they are 10 rings. They're worth 10 rings. If you have, you can, okay, I'm going to say something that could be wrong here. I believe if you have 50 rings or above, when you get to the end of zones 1 and 2, the giant rings there, and that's how you get into the bonus stage. I don't, yes, that is it. Yeah, it's 50 rings, I believe. And if you collect 100 rings, you get an extra life. Yes. And when you're in the bonus stage, you have to get the Chaos Emerald. There are 7, I believe. This weird maze type thing where you have to the screen rotates around you. It's bonus stage is kind of weak, to be honest. But anyway, if you collect a certain amount of rings in the bonus stage, you get a continue and extra lives as well. But more importantly, you want to get the Chaos Emerald. The only thing it does, there's no Supersonic in this game, or in Origins as far as I believe. The only thing it does is that it changes the ending picture. Robotnik isn't throwing up the Chaos Emeralds, he's jumping up and down, he's angry because you got all the Chaos Emeralds. That's about it. The gameplay is momentum based for Sonic, so it's almost like gravity affects him, so he can't just run uphill really quickly. He has to gather momentum and run. Yeah, that's basically the gist of the gameplay. And there are not wells, but there are levels. Each level is 3 zones. If you run past one of those red lollipop things, it's blue, and when you run past it, it goes red and it goes boom. That's you. If you die, you start from there. That's like a checkpoint, basically. They're checkpoints. That's realistically it. I mean, I've boiled it down to its essence. It sounds dull, but it's just not. It's a great game. So yeah, so that's the general gist of the gameplay. You can get shields in the TVs as well. If you have no rings and you get hit, you die. Spikes kill you. The bounce back is nowhere near as bad as OG Castlevania. There, that's about it. There were cheat codes for the levels, and I think maybe invincibility on the original Mega Drive. To be honest, I didn't really do the cheat codes, but I know you can do it for the levels. But you know what, that actually makes sense. I should have done it for this game, but like a fool, I played through the game twice. Once on the Mega Drive, well, once on the PS3 version, which I could have done a cheat code for, and then, oh God, you asshole. Who puts that there? At least I'm going to learn from my mistake now, obviously. Yeah, so I played through this game once on a... Are you having that effing laugh? Goddamn swans. Absolute swans. Just jump over it, jump over it. There we go. Yeah, so once again, third time trying. I played through this game on the PS3. I should have used the levels, cheat codes, but I didn't. I just played through the whole game. And then on the Origins collection, I played through the whole game again. The game is not particularly long. I remember it being long when I was a kid, but by today's standards, it's not long at all. You can just destroy this game. You can go through it. So, yeah. What is the next section? Oh, my history with this game. That's what we're going to talk about next. My history. I need to stop hitting the mic. My bad if you heard that. So when it comes to Unikronn and Sonic 1, I remember in school, I was one of the first people to have a Mega Drive, because most of those kids there, and a lot of them cats, they had Amigas and Atari ST. That was the war. Before Sega and Nintendo, the war in the UK originally, for me, it may have been one before with the VIC-20s and stuff, but I wasn't around for that, was Spectrum and C64. Anyone who says Amstrad, look, don't try and be cute. Amstrad wasn't really part of the war. They was a casualty of the war, but they weren't part of the war. It was Commodore 64 and Spectrum. And then it was the Amiga and Atari ST. And then this game on that system piped up. The Mega Drive came in and floored everyone, because we didn't have a video game crash. We had 8-bit microcomputers, and we had arcades, and we loved arcade conversions and arcade-like games. But this was one of the first games that sort of changed that on a big scale. It was just arcade quality graphics all the way through in a platform game with brilliant music. But anyway, in the magazines and at school, we was talking about this game. I don't know why this game was so hyped. Not because, I'm not saying it's not a good game, but it doesn't make sense because we didn't have the internet then. We had a few magazines. And everyone was talking about, oh, Sonic, 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 Sonic. And that's all that was talked about. And we couldn't wait. But I don't know where this started. Because, I mean, I don't think it was Sega Power. I don't think it was in the back of CVG. Because that's where they had the console part before Nintendo, official Nintendo magazine system and Mean Machine Sega. CVG just had a part that in the back of their magazine for consoles. But for whatever reason, this game was being talked about before it came out. And the hype levels were crazy. And then when it came out, we went mad. Just mad for this game. There was a few Amiga people hanging out there that tried to poo-poo the game. And when they got Zool, it's like, we've got our own version, we've got Zool. Sit down, please. Bitches, sit down. Zool wasn't the one. All those lollipops and sweeties. And I'm not saying that Sonic, because he was a hedgehog and fast was the greatest thing. It's more ironic, but Zool was a ninja ant, I believe. But yeah, he just wasn't doing it. He wasn't the one. Trust me, he wasn't the one. But yeah, so Sonic had this massive... We wasn't Nintendo kids, because Sega and Europe were hand in hand. We wasn't Nintendo people. We knew maybe of people who may have had a Nintendo, but I'm talking like count them on your hand if you were lucky. Everyone wanted this Mega Drive and Sonic, and we talked about it, and it's one of those early games that I didn't hear no one boasting that they beat it in like a weekend for whatever reason. People come back saying it was hard, all sorts. It was a while before people started boasting about getting all the Chaos Emeralds. Even my brother, he's a sadist. He plays games always on the hardest level. Look, you see the extra slowdown here? I'm sure the Mega Drive version didn't slow down like that. That's some proper PAL slowdown. PAL slowdown. There ain't no NTSC slowdown. Perhaps the Mega Drive NTSC version did have that slowdown, but that was quite chronic there. Oh, look, the final boss. Yeah, so it was one of those things. People just loved it. They talked about it. And then when I realized that people were beating it, most of the time it was with the cheat. Because these people didn't have no skills. They didn't have no skills. I used to beat this game with so many lives left over. I lived for this game. I loved this game. This was just, yeah. Me and Sonic went hand in hand. And then when that crappy cartoon came on TV with the robotic... What was Robotnik had these two henchmen. I think one of them was some sort of chicken or rooster. I can't remember what the other one was. And they used to go after Sonic. It's some Saturday morning cartoon. But yeah, I watched that as well. I won't watch it now because it's terrible. But at the time, I loved everything Sonic. Just loved it. And we're not even going to get into Sonic 2 and how that was one of my favorite games for at least 20 years. We're not even going to do that. But Sonic 1, it set the standard. It set the bar for me. I loved it. Graphics, characters, music, playability. And on top of all that, I loved it. And it was the PAL version. It wasn't even the proper version that I loved. Can you believe that? But we didn't know no different. That's all we knew. It's like, okay, this is the game that we've got. It is what it is. I didn't know that the American version was faster or the Japanese version was faster and they didn't have no borders because it was 1991. We were kids. We just we didn't know about that. We were just happy to get a freaking game. That's all we cared about. And probably the only negative, realistically, was the original 3-button controller for the Mega Drive with Sonic. Like I said, I would spin sometimes when I didn't mean to. That D-pad wasn't the best. But I don't have to worry about that now because the controllers I play with now, that's not an issue at all. But yeah, it was just a great game. A wonderful game. It was shocking to me later on during the years. I think around about the PS3 generation. PS3 stroke PS4. When big sites like IGN and most American sites, they were like, Sonic's terrible. It's one of the worst games ever. I was like, what? Is that how you honestly feel? Americans just don't like Sonic. That just seemed to be the thing. It was just like, yeah, Sonic was this crap. It was this basic, bland, shallow gameplay. And I was like, wow, really? And you'd start asking them, so what game is great then? They'd be talking about Mario, and I'd be like, oh, you know what, we're just chalk and cheese, mate. All right, you do you, fine. I'd allow them sites because we're just not on the same mental plane. So yeah, that was shocking to me. And I was like, was you there in 91? I was like, how small were your hands where an NES controller didn't cut into your hands with those square corners? I'm just like, and that short ass lead, and the games cost so much money and it took forever to come out. But I was putting my European / UK bias on the NES, so obviously Nintendo didn't give a flying F about Europe at the time. Whereas Sega did, because that's where their money was. But anyway, yeah, that was just my history with the game. Yeah, that was about that, really. Probably just do some final thoughts and wrap it up now. Okay, my final thoughts and conclusion. Sonic 1 is still a great game. It was a great game then. It has been superseded by its sequels, but it's still a wonderful game. I would still play it. But now the question is, how would I play it? I don't think I'd want to play the original. Even if I know that the PS3 version I was playing was a bit wonky, but even if it was perfect, I think I prefer the Origins and how that plays, widescreen and all the little nuances and features that gives me. To this day, I prefer that. The only big negative, it's not the only, a negative about the Sonic Origins collection is that for the most part, you can't turn the game back to the original Sonic 1. It's got it in there, it says it is, but the lives don't come back in the TV, they stay as the coins. Even though it cuts it to 4:3, it still plays like the widescreen version. I don't think you can get rid of like the spin dash and some other bits and pieces, or the drop dash. I think they're still in there, so you can't turn it back into the OG version if you want to. So that's really annoying, but for me, I don't care about that. I want to play with the new stuff, so I will always play the Origins version if I'm going to play Sonic 1, because this is my favorite way to play it. What else? Yeah, another thing. If you play Sonic Mania and all the different, and the way that looks with the scan lines and stuff like that, why aren't those features in Sonic Origins Collection, Sega? What were you doing? That's ridiculous. I don't understand that. But anyway, yeah, it's still my preferred way to play. Even though it is flawed, it's still the best way to play for me. And it's my preferred way to play it. If I'm going to play Sonic 1, I'd always rather play Sonic 2 or Sonic Mania. You know, I've never really played Sonic 3 or Sonic and Knuckles. People probably thinking I'm unsubscribing. Well, 10 of you going to unsubscribe. Yeah, I've only got 10 subscribers anyway, so it doesn't make a difference. But yeah, I probably will play through Sonic 3 and Sonic and Knuckles and make a video of it. I've probably played, to this day, maybe 10 minutes of it. But no, I'm gonna have to do it. That's gonna be my thing. I will do it. I will play that game. Yeah. For now, I'm out. You can watch some of my deaths and how I died through this bumfuck of a game. You know what zones it was, and it always was water based. Anyway, I'll see you in the next one. Later. Peace. And wait, did I just say peace like that? What's wrong with me? Let's do it properly. I'll see you in the next video. Peace!